Hi, this is Lynn. Welcome to my full service. I am putting it together in this way, kind of a timeline of how things unfolded because the central camera I had set up to capture the whole event failed and corrupted the file. So Scott said to just put together whatever I had and to do it that way. So that's why this looks different than you might expect. First, we had to prep the sanctuary. There's a couple gals at the church who do a lot of phenomenal sanctuary arts, and they helped me set things up for this service. A lot of greenery, a lot of greens and blues and golds to represent the various elements. This is a shot of the chancel. This is one of the two celebration stations. This had representations of earth, air, fire, and water with which the participants in the service could interact to create their own rituals. I had someone who was staffing that station. Unfortunately, I have no footage of that happening. This is the other celebration station, where you see the blue tablecloth on the table, and this was the collaborative art station. And I do have a still image of the result of that work, and I also have some video footage of participants engaging in that station. The Earth Day celebration and worship service was advertised on the church's social media sites, and these are some graphics that were used for that purpose. At the beginning of the service, I did a spoken word meditation that invited participants to connect with natural places, some of their favorite places where the four elements are found, and then we moved into the responsive call to worship. Come, let us dwell in the shelter of our Creator. Let us dwell in God's work of art. Come, because the earth is the work of the divine. The earth is our home. We live in this divine creation. We are not alone. We share this life and the heavens and the earth with the waters and the land, with trees and grasses, with fish, birds, and animals, with creatures of every form, with these, our sacred siblings. In awe we praise the great mysteries, whose hands created all things. With humble gratitude we gather to offer praise and celebrate your creation. This was followed by a congregational prayer which was spirit-led and not able to be reproduced. Our first hymn was Morning Has Broken. The next thing that happened in the service was that we moved to the first of two opportunities to interact at the celebration stations. I pointed out and directed folks to where they were and also let them know that there would be someone facilitating each station and opened the space up for people to move about and do that interaction as they felt called to do. What follows is some video footage that an attendant happened to capture on their phone and shared with me, so at least I have a little bit of that. One informational item I wanted to share was that there was a basket in the center of the aisle that had a bunch of handheld rhythmic instruments, and before we began the service, I told folks that they were there, and if they wanted to have one with them or wanted to go grab one at any time to make some kind of sound in celebration or lament, at any time they were welcome to do so. So occasionally you will hear rattling sounds and someone making a beat on a drum, those kinds of things. So that's what that was about. That was their way of doing amens and laments rhythmically. Making time.
What are you thinking? You get what you need to do?
You can or not. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep, that's the one up.
Yep. And there's room on this side.
Lynn, you don't care if things are upside down, right?
No.
No, they can be upside down.
Any way they want to be.
Make it yours.
Yep. Now the middle part's the same. Yep, yep.
I will now share the message on stewardship that was part of this service. Stewardship is about managing something that is not your own. Our divine beloved created all that is, and tasked us, the humans, to care for that which was created. As we talk about stewardship, think about the earth as a whole. Think of ecosystems like rainforests and the ocean. Think about your favorite place in the natural world and what your life would be without it. We gather to celebrate God's creation in all of its manifestations. The forests that blanket the landscape, the water that flows from the mountains, the bald eagles and killer whales, the bumblebees and dragonflies, and the diversity of human life. I lift up my gratitude for all this and more, and celebrate God who called it into being. In Genesis 1:26 we read, God spoke, "Let us make human beings in our image, make them reflecting our nature, so they can be responsible for the fish in the sea, the birds in the air, the cattle, and yes, earth itself, and every animal that moves on the face of the earth." We are called to stewardship over the natural world so that we do not, in our arrogance and greed, do irreparable harm to God's creation. We who have been created in the image of God are to act as caretakers of this world. This is how the system was designed. We are not separate from creation, but part of it, with a sacred responsibility for the continuation of the beauty and abundance of the earth. We also gather to lament the ways in which our species have treated this sacred creation we call Mother Earth as a repository of endless resources to be used as we see fit in the moment. Global warming is a scientific fact. Not undisputed, but it is a fact. Our planet is warming up, causing great harm to ecosystems and species. Humankind is to blame. I lament this truth. Pollution of air, water, and soil require millions of years to recoup. Industrial and vehicle exhaust, toxic chemicals, and plastics contaminate ecosystems around the globe. We as a species are to blame. I lament this truth. Extinction is a natural phenomenon. It occurs at a natural background rate of about 1 to 5 species per year. We are now losing species at 1,000 to 10,000 times that background rate, with literally dozens of species going extinct every single day. The ways in which the human species has altered the created order is to blame. I lament this truth. We are at a crossroads, able to choose to save or to destroy. Humans as created beings are called to be stewards, to nurture, to protect, and to bring about the healing of the earth. For wisdom to influence the choices people make, and for environmental crises to not be a political football, but a crisis about which we, as a species, are concerned and act to change. Every time that we as humans randomly destroy an ecosystem or drive a species to extinction, we are stating by our actions that what was created by God, we can destroy without implication. Every time a species goes extinct, we are breaking the holy stewardship covenant. Isaiah 24:5 and 6 says this, "Earth is polluted by its very own people, who have broken its laws, disrupted its order, violated the sacred and eternal covenant. Therefore, a curse like cancer ravages the earth. Its people pay the price of their sacrilege. They dwindle away, dying out, one by one. This could have been written yesterday, as opposed to 2,000 years ago. It seems Isaiah foresaw that instead of pouring all of our resources into bringing the earth back into its created self-replenishing order, humans would deplete her resources to the point where they cannot renew themselves. We take all there is, and in our greed, expect more. Our behavior makes me think of Noah preparing for the flood. When Noah loaded the ark with animals, by trotting the animals up the ramp into the ark that would keep them safe, he was saving species from extinction. That was the point. The ways in which we disrespect and exploit the earth read like the ark story in reverse. Rather than marching the animals 2 by 2 up the ramp of survival, we march all manner of species faster and faster down the gangplank of extinction. There is a lot to lament. That sits heavy on our hearts, as it should. And there is much to celebrate and rejoice. I celebrate bats and dragonflies, rainbow trout and bluegills. I celebrate polar bears, black bears, and grizzlies, the rabbits that nibble my garden, the deer who treat my hostas like a salad bar. I celebrate turtles and otters. I celebrate humanity in all of its amazing diversity. I particularly celebrate humans, like you, who care for and care about the earth, who work in large ways and small ways to reverse the devastation that our planet suffers. So as we gather here, let us hold in our hearts the natural world in its entirety. Chief Seattle of the Suquamish people put it this way: all things are connected. Whatever befalls the earth befalls the children of the earth. Mankind did not weave the web of life, but is merely a strand in it. Whatever he does to the web, he does to himself. For me, and perhaps for you, nature is the ultimate tangible manifestation of God in our midst. May we rise to our responsibility as stewards and be thankful for the bounty of creation. Aho and Amen. Whenever I use the word aho in a non-native context, I always explain it, and I did at the worship service. And it is a closing that is sort of like amen, but it also means I hear you, I'm here with you, I am in this space with you, and I have the concerns that you have, and my heart is full and couldn't possibly hold any more. After the message, we raised our voices in song for all things bright and beautiful. Next, we move to the celebration stations again to work on art and explore the elements. We had big fun at the elemental station creating individual rituals. Even though you'll be seeing the video from the art station, you'll hear in the background laughing and whatnot. That was coming from the elemental station. People really enjoyed creating their own rituals.
my aura?
Your aura.
Well, that's really meaningful. That's like a core thing.
We
Now.
soak it in.
Alright. Gosh. Now she's gonna just.
I know. Of course, yeah.
That's super, like, wow.
Anyone that has a rhythm piece, make a celebration to signal our transition to the next section. Thank you so much.
This is the art that was made at the station from the video that you saw, and there were people contributing to this from the ages of about 6 to 95. So this is going to hang in Grace Church. It's a big, like 24 by 30 framed piece that will hang in Grace Church as a reminder and a testimony and witness to our commitments to being good stewards. This is a collection of still images from a couple of different participants who took them on their phones, and so they were kind enough to share those with me. A couple of notes of thanks while these pictures are going. The person who facilitated the art celebration station is the Reverend Anne Marie Kneebone, who is the pastor of Grace Church where this was taking place. The person that you see in the black jacket was facilitating the elemental station on the other side of the sanctuary. That is the Reverend Dr. Carrie Call, who is the Associate Conference Minister for the Indiana-Kentucky Conference. And she was so excited about what we were doing, she asked if she could participate. So she facilitated that, and so thank you, Anne-Marie, and thank you, Carrie. And thank you to all who participated. The service was closed in prayer with a call to stewardship. We then had our sending song, which was Trees of the Field, and something really amazing happened during that. A lot of the participants went to the center aisle where the basket of rhythm instruments was sitting, and an impromptu drum circle happened just in the aisle. Elderly folks, young kids, the pastors who were involved, everybody just kind of went to the center of the sanctuary and were drumming while we were singing Trees of the Field. It was amazing, and I don't have video, which makes me really sad. Thank you for watching the video representation of what went on at my service. I wish we had full video of everything happening, but it just wasn't meant to be. Ritual is meant to be experienced, and I guess that has to be enough.